Welcome to Swordbox 4-Hour Thursday message. Mickey continues talking about the prodigal son in today's video. Our verse for today is Psalm 103:12. As far as the east is from the west, so far has he removed our transgressions from us.
We're continuing to talk about forgiveness this week, and we've been going through the parable of the prodigal son. Yesterday when we left off, the Bible says that the son had arose to come to his father, and that was the step that the son needed to make. It wasn't enough that he had hit bottom. It wasn't enough that he had realized what he had done and that he realized what he needed to do. He had to actually get up and take the step back to his father. And we finished off in verse 20, but we're going to pick up on the last part of verse 20. I'll just go ahead and read the whole thing. It says, "And he arose and came to his father, but when he was still a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him." Isn't that awesome? That just gives us a glimpse into how God really looks at us. You know, for me, I've experienced the prodigal son. I've experienced being the prodigal son, but I've also experienced kind of what the father experienced. I had a son who ran away from home and was a wayward child, and I can tell you that I felt just like God in this picture. You know, when my son ran away from home and was living in wasteful living and drugs and all the things that go along with that kind of lifestyle, as a father, he never stopped being my son. I never stopped loving him. I forgave him the day he left. All that he needed to do was to come home. And as a father, my heart, you know, it was broken in a million pieces because this son who I love more than anything in the world, I knew was ruining his life. And for him, all he needed to do was come home. And, you know, it says that the son said to the father, "I have sinned against heaven and in your sight, and I am no longer worthy to be called your son." He confessed and he agreed with the father that what he had done was wrong, and that he had done a horrible injustice to his father. He needed forgiveness. He was aware of that. You know, when my son came home, it was one of the happiest days of my life, seeing this son who was lost, who was going out into the world ruining his life, who had come to himself and come home. And that's what this young man did. And, you know, I'm sure the Jews that were listening to this, the Pharisees that were listening to Jesus tell this story, thought, okay, you know, when this son comes home, the father's going to nail him, you know. And that's just not what happened. And that's not our God. He is not like that. Because Jesus has paid for your sin, because he has paid the penalty of your sin and for my sin, he doesn't have to be like that. He stands ready to forgive you and ready to forgive me. He's not going to push you away. He's not going to stand there and condemn you. He's going to receive you if you come to him in truth. If you come to him in humility like this child did. So I hope you come back tomorrow. We're going to conclude this story. And I hope you remember Jesus stands ready to forgive you. You just got to get up and you got to come to him and you got to confess. God bless you.